John McClung Jr. I'd like to invite you to join me every Monday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, for Breaking Biblical Bread, where we take a word or passage of Scripture and encourage you, impact your life, and add value to your day. You don't want to miss it. Welcome to another Breaking Biblical Bread and another Monday. Thank God that I get to see another Monday, and hopefully if you hear my voice, you do too. And so today, of course, we do this every Monday, Lord willing, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for my people on the West Coast. And I'm your host, John McClung Jr. And as always, we are sponsored by I'm a Testimony Apparel and Kingdom Connection Media Group. And I know that this is an week that prayerfully each and every one of us are preparing to be thankful, or we are already thankful, should be, or at least getting ready to share some thankfulness with your family, maybe friends. And so today I'm doing two things with Breaking Biblical Bread. I dropped a link. If you can check the comments and see, there's a link in there that I would love today, while I'm going through this message, or even if I do a message for that fact, you can click on that link and come in and talk about something that you're thankful for. So that link is available to each and every one of you. If you can see it, if not, leave a note for me and say, I can't see it. And I'll try to put it back in there, because it'd be nice to have a few guests come on impromptu and share some of the things, share something that they're thankful for. Now, we are in the next to last month of the year. And I know that, these last 11 months, or especially this one, has been very interesting. But there's a question, or there's a word that, for myself, I wondered if I had done enough of it. And I'm wondering whether or not during the course of this year that you might think on this word and see if you've done enough of it. Because there have been, I'm sure, moments in this year where it probably was needed in some way. And I'm going to just cover this shortly and share a couple of thoughts about this word that I believe we are needing to do if we haven't accomplished all that we set out to do for this year. And maybe in some cases, sometimes things may have gotten a little worse versus better because this word was not implemented in our life. There's a story in Genesis that I'm going to touch on that really encompasses this word. And there was a lot of things done because of this word. And so the definition is replace something with something else, especially something of the same kind that is newer or better or has value, needing to be substituted. Let me say this again: replace something with something else, especially something of the same kind that is newer or better or has greater value, and to substitute it. Now, I don't know in your life this year if there was something that you needed to replace, something that needed to be newer or better in your life. Whatever area of that is, I know that this is one of those times where we need to do this word. And the word is change. Replace something with something else, especially something of the same kind that is newer or better or has greater value. Now, in Genesis, there's a story, of course, the story of Noah, but there's also the story of God wanting to make a change. He was disappointed in man, what he had created, and he decided to do something about it by creating a flood that would wipe the earth clean. And he wanted to make a change. He wanted to start again with something else, something newer and better. And what, if you were listening to my voice, are you or have you thought about replacing or making or doing something newer in your life or something better or something with a greater value? Because you've been disappointed that what you have or what has transpired in your year or your season so far has not worked, and or it has in some way but not to the level that you have wanted. Maybe you're like me, and maybe you're not, of course, where you are the person that's in the way, or you're learning to change and get out of your own way. Maybe you might be somebody who thinks about how people think about them or whether or not they are pleasing. Sometimes you can please to exhaustion and then you have not made any progress. And so, how do you change that or make that better for yourself? And so, as we are going into this week, what are you thankful for that has been a change in your life? Or let's change the question. Is there something that in your life you can change and eventually be thankful for that you were able to make that change? If you are in the same spot and it gets deeper and deeper and you seem to be stuck, time to make a change. If you find yourself wanting to do your passion and you have personal situations or problems that seem to attack you in that particular area, you probably need to make a change of some sort. So let's talk about let's talk about 6 ideas that you should do when change is necessary. 6 things to know when change is necessary. Again, change, replace something with something else, especially something of the same kind that is newer, better, or has greater value. And you never want to change something. And sometimes we exchange, right? Sometimes we'll exchange one particular thing that we had. If you are someone that is a purchaser and it doesn't come to you correctly, you want to exchange it. There's 2 letters in front of that, X, before you change. That means you are getting ready to get something of the same kind, and it might not be as good, but you would like to have something better. And what would you like to have better? What do you want to be thankful for in your life that should be better? Sometimes we have to face ourselves in the mirror and wonder, are we really making the types of changes that we should be making? And it can be difficult because we could be hard-headed, we could be strong-willed, we could be disobedient. I mean, it's a few attributes and characteristics we can have that doesn't allow us or doesn't give us reasoning to make a change in our life with something better, newer, or of greater value. So I'm a use Genesis chapter 6 and a few verses in there. And as always, you know what I say, take some notes. Let me know where you're coming in from. And again, if you want to, you can, I'm preferably in the comments, you can see the link. If not, I'll put it back in there. If you choose to just dive, you can come in at any time and share what you're thankful for. All right, so Genesis 6. I want to start with Genesis 6 and 3. Again, this story is about God making a change. And if God can make a change of drastic proportions, so can you. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man. This is verse 3. For that he also is flesh. Yet, listen to this, yet his days shall be 120 years. Limited. Your time, number one, is limited to make a change. Now, in the biblical days and Noah's days and back in the Old Testament, of course, they were fortunate enough to live longer. And as we moved into the New Testament or into new seasons, that time has come down. It's 62 years. 62, isn't that something? And some people actually do expire at 62, and some younger, some older. But we were given a shorter time. Our time is limited to make a change. So that means we need to do that change like now, or as they say, ASAP, as soon as possible. But when you think about as soon as possible, that means you're giving yourself more time to think that you can make the change. And as difficult as it might be, you must understand that you don't have all the time in the world. Neither do I. Back in, the Lord had made it. There's a statement that is, there's a biblical statement: 1,000 years is a day, and a day is 1,000 years to the Lord. But you don't get 1,000 days, and 1,000 years to make a change. You get one day. You get today. And so, as you move into the remainder of this month, because you never know when your time is up. You never know when the Lord is going to call those of us who are grounded in our faith home. And your change or changes while you are here must be necessary, because they are limited on time. All right, number one, when change is necessary, understand your time is limited. Number two, verses 5 and verses 13 in Genesis 6. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Man was struggling badly by not making change. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me. Mind you, God said this, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And we see that today. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. So the Lord, in number two, as far as change, recognized when things are not right. And that's number two, recognize when things are not right so that you can make a change. It's amazing in this story that there's a feeling of a human side to the Lord, to God, as he recognized what was going on here on earth at that time. That man, in whom he created after his own image, just couldn't get it together. And how do we look at that today? Man just can't get it together. We're doing some crazy stuff, and we have not recognized that things are not right. So in your own personal life, number two, when you start seeing things going left and right and that they're not on the narrow path, or you feel as though the weight of the world is on you, or there's a lot of stuff going on, recognize when things are not right so that you can make a change. And don't be afraid to face whatever that is that's not right, because it's going to be important for the change you make to be in the right area that needs to have the change. Remember that. It's going to be important to make the change in the right area that needs to change. And so the Lord recognized that man was the thing he needed to change. He needed to remove or change what he had done, start again, and make the same thing better or newer or have more value. And I can imagine having to being it. No, I can't imagine, but I can think about imagining being in that position, as far as understanding that God created man for himself in his own image, and man messed it up tremendously on many occasions, and consistently still does that, because we haven't changed in many ways, many of us. And so he recognized it and said to himself, I got to destroy this and start over. I got to make a change. So number two, recognize when things are not right so that you can make a change. Number three, verse 6. And it repented the Lord that he made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. That's that right there is a powerful statement. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on earth and that grieved him at his heart. He was hurt by what he designed and created. And for us, what have we in our lives gone after and recognized that it wasn't right? So number 3, be willing to forgive yourself and make the change. Now, I know that this one is probably one of the most challenging of the 6 that I'm talking about, because sometimes we will get in our own head and try to change either something or somebody to do what is right. And we're not really responsible from a standpoint of how they're going to react. The Lord tried to help the people make changes. He gave them plenty of time. Matter of fact, he gave them 120 years to get it together as Noah was building the ark before he decided to destroy, excuse me, what he had created. You and I are not going to get 120 years to do that. We don't have that much time to make a change. And we don't have that much time to forgive ourselves and get out the way of our own decisions to make the change. Be willing to forgive yourself so that change can be made. There are individuals, I'm sure, who may hear this that have held on to something for years and decided not to forgive themselves about it or forgive the person, maybe. And because of that, they have been struggling. They can't deal with it. they can't face that person. They don't know. I mean, it's a lot of things that come into what happens when you don't make change. What about your passion or your dream or your vision? You got it and then you sat it on the shelf because you wasn't ready to make the change to do it. What about something that the Lord or the Holy Spirit whispered in your ear to do, and you want to fight like I do sometimes because you don't want to change and do what's right because you might be thinking about what people are thinking about it. So the Lord is like, listen, I didn't make you to please them. Oh, let me say that. Wait a second. Hold on a second. Let me say that again, Lord. I didn't make you to please them. You need to change that thought process. I made you to please me. And just like this story, the people were trying to please themselves, and it caused destruction because they were not willing to change. They didn't understand that they could have been in position to forgive themselves and act right. And that might be something that we all look at in our life at the moment. Are you looking at yourself and acting and knowing that you can forgive yourself and act right? And I'm pointing at me, because a lot of times we see it, but we don't see it, or we see it and ignore it because we won't make the change, or we won't address it in some ways. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on earth, and it grieved him at his heart. So the things that you do not change will make you grieve. Let me say that again. The things you do not change will make you grieve. They will hurt your heart if you don't make the change. Be willing to forgive yourself so that grieving on purpose is not a part of your presence. All right. Number 3, be willing to forgive yourself. Number 4, verse number 7. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast and the creeping thing and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. Now, this is God talking about his ability and his awesomeness to create man, and he felt he made a mistake. And think about it. If that can happen from the Lord speaking about it, what do you think is going to happen in your life? You don't think that you're going to have moments where you need to make change? Now, here's the second part to this. And number 4, commit to making the change. That's one of the hardest things on a consistent basis, is to make the commitment to change. The Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth. I'm taking you all out. Now, here's the thing about change. And I want you to understand that it's in this verse as well. When you don't make a change, it affects other people and things. Let me say that again. When you don't make a change, it affects other people and things. Because man did not change in this particular story, it affected man, beast, creeping things, fowls of the earth, fish. It affected everything else that the Lord made. Because one choice of not making change in the life that God created. And you got to remember, the Lord created all of us. And it grieves him when we don't make a change. When we don't change our lives and follow him, be obedient, it grieves him. And a lot of times we find ourselves in difficult challenges because we didn't make the change. We didn't commit to making the change necessary to better our lives. We didn't make the change to acknowledge God in all the things we do so he can direct our paths. We didn't make the change to give God glory when things happen positive in our life. We didn't make the change to continue to build a relationship with him so we can get to know him better. Commit to making the change, whatever it is in life. If you're dealing with a difficult job, then you keep telling yourself, I need to leave this. I need to leave this job. Forgive yourself for being there. If you're, for the length of time you stay, commit to make the change to go somewhere else or do something for yourself. If you have this amazing business and you are trying to elevate it, but you aren't doing the necessary things to self-develop, commit to making a change of self-development. If you're in a relationship and it's not working and it's supposed to work, commit to making it work, or do the thing that the Lord is asking of you. Make that change. Whatever you are dealing with from a point of something needing to be replaced, made better or newer or of greater value, commit to making the change. Number 4, the Lord certainly did it, because in this story, there truly was a flood. In this story, the Lord truly wiped man, beast, creeping thing, and fowls of the air off the earth. He committed to what he said. The Lord's word does not return void, neither should ours. We can make a promise to ourselves, and I know that during the course of this season, this year, we made promises that we didn't commit to. I'm guilty, so guilty. And we have, personally, I have to make a change. Sometimes we can, again, matter of fact, sometimes we can help to exhaustion or help to a detriment that we lose ourselves and we don't help ourselves. And I know there's somebody that understands exactly what I'm talking about. You can do so much for others that you forget to do for yourself. And a lot of times that change of doing for yourself will actually help you do things better for others, because you'll have the energy, you'll understand what your capacity is, you'll understand what you're capable of, a lot of things. Sometimes we just do things out the blue and we don't even have the skill set to actually do it. And we find ourselves tripping. And we have to decide and go back to number 3 and be willing to forgive ourselves for making that choice. Sometimes a no is a good no. And sometimes no is the next opportunity. So number 4, commit to making the change, especially as we move into the remainder of this season. And maybe you need to commit to making the change of being thankful. for all the little things, because this is again going into Thanksgiving. And have you been thankful for what God has done in your life? Make that change. Commit to that one, being thankful on a day-to-day basis. Number 5, verse 8. And this was just this was just simple, but it's powerful. Verse 8 says, "But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord." When you have been given an assignment and you understand that you have a specific amount of time, and things around you that are attacking you, you know that sometimes those things aren't right, but yet you're capable of checking yourself and to understand, I am supposed to do this this assignment. I'm committed to it. Number 5, the Lord will give you favor. Now, Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. He was given favor as well as his family. He already understood that he had an assignment that he had never seen or even known about. They didn't even know that rain existed at that time. They had no idea what a flood was, or he didn't, I'm sure. But yet, he had never seen an ark, but he had to build it from scratch. Have you been given something in your life that you have to build from scratch, that you didn't see, but you had to step out on faith and go after it or do it? And you wondered whether or not you were capable of doing it. Well, you see, when you commit to it, when you commit to making the change, the Lord will give you favor. Noah got favored by him and his family, and all of that time. And Noah was up against a lot. And all of us, many of us, we're up against a lot. People telling us we can't do it, being hated on, being distracted, things happening to make us lose focus. Stuff keep coming at you. You're looking, and it's a negative. It's a negative in the bank, and you're wondering if you have the ability to get out of the hole. I mean, the relationship is going to the left, and you're wondering why. You think you're doing everything right, and you're trying to maintain it. I mean, people at work are tripping. It's a lot of stuff. But when you do the assignment that the Lord gives you, even when He's about to destroy all the things that are attacking you, and that might not be physical death like this, but it may be removal of some things. Understand that if you focus on what He give you, like Noah focused on the ark, the Lord will give you favor. So number 5, as you make the change in your life that aligns with what God has designed for you and the purpose and will He has for you, the Lord will give you favor. Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. He was given the opportunity to move forward to something newer or better of more value. Noah was getting ready to go through a change, and he didn't have no control over it. The only thing he did was the assignment. And those, again, here's the part B to what I said earlier about things being affected when you don't make change. When you do make change, people around you are positively affected. His family was positively affected because they were able to go on that ark and survive, be a part of the survivors that would start something new. In all honesty, and biblically, life started again in a totally different way with Noah and his family. The only survivors. And everything within the ark, including animals, fowls of the earth, creeping things. So again, all of the things that he built from a standpoint of doing the assignment for the ark, everything that was included in it was affected by his decision to change. And so as you move today into your remainder season, understand whatever it is that you're going or trying to do or going after, what you're assigned for, what you're passionate about, what you're purposed for, do it and know that you will find grace in the eyes of the Lord. And the Lord will provide favor for you as you are completing that assignment. Lastly, as you are understanding your time is limited, that recognize when things are not right to make a change. Be willing to forgive yourself so you can change. Commit to making the change. And understand you will get favor when you change. Lastly, verse 17 and 18. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, everything. And sometimes our physical earth, we need to destroy a lot of stuff. We need to destroy everything that is not working and are not aligned with what God has for us as an assignment. Wherein is the breath of life from under heaven, and I'm going to read that again, and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee will I establish my covenant. I'm going to read 17 and 18 again. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee will I establish my covenant. This is the Lord, again, making a statement about change. And lastly, number 6, make the change. The Lord was clear that he was about to make a change. And there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He specifically said everything under heaven is going to be destroyed. It's going to die. And I, after that, will make the change. I will establish my covenant with thee. He was preparing to do what he said he was going to do. And he did it. Are you preparing to do what you say you're going to do as far as a change? And are you doing it? Are you making the change? Are you being thankful for the changes in your life? Are you being responsible for the good and the bad and recognizing it, whether it's right or not right, so that you can change? Do you understand that you don't have a lot of time to make the change? You got right now, just like I got right now. I got to make the change. Now, one of the things that can be difficult when it comes to this particular word, and I'm sure it was difficult for Moses. Moses was well known, and he became even more well known while he was dealing with the fact of building the ark. And he was well known in good and bad ways. People were hard on him, like, because they didn't see it. It wasn't their vision. It wasn't God's dream of building an ark for other people. It was for Moses. For Noah, y'all. And so has the Lord, given you something that only you can see? And has it been difficult as you go after it, where people are trying to talk you out of it, or talking about you while you're doing it, or wondering why you're still doing it or trying to make it happen? Because I know Moses went through a difficult time while he was building the ark. Man, it drove him crazy. Doing something he had never done before, doing something he never seen before. And many of us are going after or trying to do something that we're in something for the first time. And we may not be good at it. We might be just learning it. Somebody, and we got people in our ear, oh, I don't even know why they're doing that. All kind of things. And yet, he committed himself to building what God had asked him to build. Are you committing yourself, despite everything that's being said or done or in the way, people coming to you for help and all these kind of things that will take you away from the one thing that the Lord has given to you? Are you committed to making the change from all the other things to doing what he wants you to do, so that you understand the benefits that come with it? See, life was the benefit of making the change. Losing life was the detriment for not making change. Everyone who didn't make a change lost their life. Now, in today's time, if you make a change, don't make a change in your life, you might not lose your physical life, but you can lose your spiritual attachment, your emotional, your mental, your psychological, and physical. You can be affected and infected by not making change in your life. Because again, the change that you don't make will affect the things that are attached to that decision. It will attach other people and other things. And it's not going to make it better. It's going to probably be worse. So this is John McClung Jr. on Breaking Biblical Bread. We do this every Monday, Lord willing, 12 noon Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for my people on the West Coast. And I pray that today's message provided some insight on some of the steps of making a change in your life. Now, if you haven't accomplished all that you set out to do up until today's date, the 25th, and yet you still have a few more days left in this month, and the Lord willing, the remainder of the year, there's a question I always ask. In the next 30 some odd days, what will your conversation be, Lord willing, on December the 1st, about what you accomplished in the last 30 days, 35 days, whatever it might be? Did you make any changes in the remainder of this month, leading into next month, getting ready to start the new year? And again, oh man, y'all, I'm talking about self too. So what changes will you do when you know your time is limited? What will you do when you recognize when things are not right? Will you be one willing to forgive yourself for what you didn't change? Will you commit to making the change? Will you be in position to receive the Lord's favor because of your change? And truly overall, will you make the change? I look forward to next Monday, Lord willing, of Breaking Biblical Bread. And prayerfully, let me say happy Thanksgiving to each and every one of you. Whatever you are dealing with today, look and see whether or not, no, don't even see whether or not, look into yourself, look at yourself, look within, and make the change. Replace something with something else better, newer, or more value, so that as you move into your life in the remainder of what time you have, the change will make an impact on those you are called to serve. I look forward again to talking to you and Breaking Biblical Bread. Have a great holiday and be willing to make the. This is John McClung Jr. I'd like to invite you to join me every Monday, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, for Breaking Biblical Bread, where we take a word or passage of scripture and encourage you, impact your life, and add value to your day. You don't want to miss it.